Um, this one's for the both the feminists and the men's rights activists alike. Okay, we'll talk about language just for a minute, and it's also for the disability rights activists as well. Um, um, about language and the importance of using correct language and having the correct attitude to basically get things right. Never mind, gonna have to hold it. So let's look at what you might call kiddification. Okay, the idea of kiddification. It's obviously the case that this physical body is 43 years old. Okay, you don't need to know that, YouTube, but technically this physical body is 43 years old. So when they were a teenager, there was The Offspring and Metallica and South Park had just started, and that generation, Generation Y it's called Generation Y, and so with that, okay, you can obviously see that this face has all the things that you'd expect a 43-year-old to have, except grey hair. Got a bit lucky on that one apparently. And crow's feet around the eyes, a few bags here and there, some worry lines, hairs on the chin and upper lip from just generic aging and whatever, and sort of just a bit of wear and tear type of thing. That's just part of life. Okay, so all these signs associated with aging, not going to show you, but do have breasts. The body does have breasts. So you said that there's wrinkles on the hands and stuff like that. It's it's not all Nivea and hand creams or whatever. So let's talk about that the aging thing. So when you get to the age of about 43, like about 40, okay, you have responsibilities that you don't have when you're 20. When you get to the age of 50, 60, 70, likewise. So as you get older in life, you get more responsibilities. Okay, there are people who don't exercise those responsibilities, and there's some people who can't exercise those responsibilities. An example of people who can't exercise those responsibilities are disabled people. So just imagine someone in a wheelchair. Okay, someone in a wheelchair who can't walk, who can't wipe their backside, okay, who requires a carer to look after them because they have an illness of some kind or disability of some kind that prevents them from doing that. Okay, would you call that person a child? Just think about it. Would you call that person a child? If you did, you would be insulting that person. That person is not a child. They are an adult. Trapped inside their head is an adult with adult emotions, adult thoughts, adult opinions, and adult intentions. That means when that disabled person is sitting in that wheelchair, and let's just say he's a dude, and a nice looking woman walks past, and she has a hot ass or a hot pair of tits, he's thinking, okay? True story. It also means he's thinking about things like what he can contribute to the family, what he can do, okay, or she can do if it's a disabled woman. So they're thinking all the adult things. Professor Stephen Hawking, as you would know, thought about all the adult things, okay, really grown-up stuff like black hole physics, okay, that's not rainbows and unicorns and slippery hips, okay, that is sophisticated, complicated mathematics involving enormous amounts of knowledge and reasoning that is absolutely completely abstract. Okay, it is very, very adult level thinking. Okay, so when Professor Stephen Hawking wished to wheel up on the stage, and he used to, give computer speeches. This is Professor Stephen Hawking. Okay, that sent a very strong message to people that disabled people aren't fucking children. When they're not. Hang on, what's the language for those who take it literally? Well, they're not doing that either, are they? In fact, there isn't anyone doing that, thank goodness. Okay, he's very much was very much an adult. Okay, so when Jim Jeffries did his comedy, he did a comedy skit once where he said he had a friend who had some kind of disability that got worse as he got older, and the friend just so happened to reach maturity and have a brother. So Jim Jeffries was friends with the brother as well as the disabled person. All three of them were mates, and he's gone to visit the two brothers. Spoken to the disabled brother and said, what would you like? Would you like, a cup of tea and a biscuit, type of thing? And the guy's gone, brothel, yeah, brothel, right? Okay. And Jim Jeffries' skit was about the great adventure, the epic adventure of what it took to get that young disabled man to a brothel and assisted. And he went to great lengths to describe what probably was that young man losing his virginity, and the enormous amount of relief that young man felt. So, adult thoughts, those are an example of that. Thinking about black hole physics, adult thoughts. Thinking about politics and religion, adult thoughts. Thinking about the economy, adult thoughts. Thinking about doing chores like the groceries or whatever, adult thoughts. Thinking about plans for the future, adult thoughts. As well as thinking about titties and mums, also adult thoughts. So when you're talking about somebody in a wheelchair, okay, that person, okay, is an adult trapped in a broken body. Okay, they're not a child because you have to look after them. So let's talk about the aged people. With aged people, geriatrics, some of those people also wind up in chairs or use scooters or they use walkers or whatever it might be. They wind up in nursing homes. They wear nappies. And the moment that an old decrepit person wears a nappy, they probably get embarrassed because that's what babies do. And they're not a big baby. They're an old man or old woman, and they've just, for crying out loud, sometimes they're great-grandparents. Why the heck would they be a baby for? Stop insulting them. Just let them crap everywhere, just get over it, This idea, this market has developed very interestingly since Professor Hawking's time and Jim Jeffries' skit. It seems to coincide. It's an illusory correlation. But this market has developed for adult nappies or diapers and sanitary napkins and whatever that are used for leaks. Okay, piddle leaks. When Mr. Musk is on his ketamine to the point where his bladder explodes and he wears an adult nappy, or Donald Trump shits his pants on stage, and you can hear it over the microphone with the squelching noise that goes with it. It's kind of a casual reminder that adults, as they get older, their plumbing don't work the same as it used to. Okay, that old grey mare just ain't what she used to be, and that's telling he's gone to the knackery. Okay, so those are people who are physically capable. You can see them walking and talking and destroying the United States of America in some cases, and they still have issues where their bowels or their bladder doesn't always operate as it used to. That doesn't make them children. It makes them adults. Okay? Adults go through things like that. Not just disabled people, not just little itty-bitty babies, adults. And the reason why that happens is because shit gets worn out. Illnesses happen. It's a cold day, dang it. Okay? Things like that. So, please watch your language. What's been noticed with talking about Donald Trump, okay, and Mr. Musk, but mostly Donald Trump, is this language of, like the old man baby language, okay? Because he's kind of a narcissist who tucks tantrums, people kidify him when they talk. He is not a child. He's a 78-year-old man with a personality disorder and most likely Korsakoff syndrome induced by having too many cognacs on the 19th hole at Mar-a-Lago. Okay? He carries enormous amounts of toxic shame and guilt as a consequence of his association with Jeffrey Epstein. He is criminally culpable of at least being taken to court in the matter associated with the 1987 Krasnov stuff. Not a single thing that man has done over the long course of his career in various endeavours, such as being a real estate mogul or being on The Apprentice or being a KGB agent by the looks of it, qualifies as baby behaviour. It's all very adult, okay? Children don't think about things like grabbing you by the pussy and getting away with it. Children don't think about things like, if you pay $100,000 to that judge, maybe you can get away with defamation charges, or whatever it might be that is done. Okay, they don't think like that. Children think about things like, ooh, lollipops are yummy, and can we have ice cream, please? We don't want to eat our veggies. We want ice cream. Okay, they think about things like Santa's coming, or how does Santa get here? How does he have rockets on the back of his sleigh? That's the kind of crap that they think about. Okay, they're not thinking about shit like that. They're not thinking about ruling the world. They're not thinking about assaulting people. They're not thinking about sexually assaulting people. They're not thinking about murdering people or being secret agents for foreign countries or building towers or rockets that go to outer space or fail to in Elon Musk's case. They're not thinking on that level. So when you imprint the collective mind spaces with shit about Donald Trump being a child, it's fucking dangerous. It's dangerous to the collective mind spaces because even though ad populum arguments are not true, it is actually the case that repetition creates copies. And if you have to deal with the copies over and over again, it gets fucking annoying. Okay? So if you ever had to deal with the copies for whatever reason, okay, you'd be extremely annoyed. Okay? It's annoying. It's amazing. This is so annoying. Okay, for a left-wing activist, okay, to have to deal with the collective mind spaces and to know that this is a consequence because it was not a consequence before that happened, okay? Calling people a corporate clown, okay? When you call someone a corporate clown, okay, that person is not a clown, okay? They are a stupid imbecile, okay, who was ripping you off, okay, and is doing the wrong thing. You don't have to like them, but they're not actually a clown. Okay? So you need to understand, global community, that what these assholes have done with their computerized warfare that they've been doing, with their satellites and their fucking Google and Memphis shit, and their stupid Eckhart Tolle's, the word of God is fucking literal, when even autistic people know better. So Musk is lying to you. By the way, he's one of the people with the computers. They're trying to scare left-wing activists out of standing up to those people by doing bad things, shock and awe tactics, fascist tactics, so that the public reacts and then the collective mind spaces are imprinted. Okay? They are bullying left-wing activists when they do that. Okay, that's their attack. That's called spiritual warfare. Okay, and you need to understand that those fear tactics are deliberate. So you can't call them that. You can call them bad things. You can say Donald Trump, things like Donald Trump is not going to get away with his star vote. The United States of America is not allowed to crap on other countries anymore. Okay? There is a blowback happening in the United States of America right now for incidences such as Pinochet, but not exclusively. That's their karmic flak, and the other countries do not have to deal with it. You can do that. You can also say that Donald Trump is going to go to prison for treason, not just fraud. And the US military is going to arrest them on June 14. He's bringing about his own destruction by having the military parade for him. They'll be there and ready to arrest his sorry ass. So you can see it that way if you want to. You could say that Mr. Musk is going to go bankrupt because Tesla is going to sue him for fucking damages, which is true, because technically his actions brought about a reasonable political response from the community, considering just how extreme it was and how fascistic it was. Okay? There is a social contract in the United States of America to be, quote unquote, anti-fascist. No kings and no dictators. So when he was carrying on like that with his Nazi salute, of course the American population reacted. Some of them reacted unfavourably, which is normal for the American population, considering its high rate of massacres. Just consider it fucking lucky that no one from Tesla fucking died, actually. Not that the Tesla employees deserve that. That part's true. So Mr. Musk got fired from Tesla because his actions brought about a near bankruptcy for the Tesla Corporation. What do you think Tesla's going to do? Sue Mr. Musk for damages, and they're going to win. Because there's going to be an argument about free speech. Was Mr. Musk exercising his First Amendment rights? Well, actually, not really. Not really, because what he was deliberately doing was knowingly stirring up the population. He'll try to argue that he has Asperger's and that doesn't apply, that he doesn't know what he's doing. But then people will say, but sir, you've been claiming through a cult of media everywhere that you've been a genius for a long time, and you even use that to try and get government subsidies and funding. So we're not sure how someone who lives in the 21st century in the United States of America, which actually produced the movies that told people about Hitler, who lived in California where they produced the movies, who actually was familiar with Hitler's history as a consequence of his grandfather or something like that, and his parents having some kind of neo-fascist type of worldview. The technocrats in Birmingham and the Praetorian Afrikaner apartheid issue and the blood money they made from Zambia or something like that, whatever it was. He has no leg to stand on with that one. Okay? He knows what Hitler's history is because he was raised in it. Okay? And he can't be doing Nazi salutes and calling it free speech. He got straight up fucking provocation. Anyone who observes that kind of behaviour, given what the knowledge the people in the 21st century have, are likely to react unfavourably. That includes the vast majority of the right wing, by the way, not just the left wing, okay? Because the ordinary conservatives don't support that, okay? They're offended by that as well. And what you'll probably find is that when Tesla sues Mr. Musk for damages, okay, and he tries to kidify his fucking arguments by pretending autistic people are just big kids and he thinks the world's a computer game, they're going to say, look, he's fucking psychotic because he's taken too many drugs. But he's still criminally liable. Why was he trying to run several corporations when he was off his face and he was psychotic dumb? And they'll say he's not capable of having those jobs. They'll say he's not fit for those jobs. They'll take those jobs away. They'll take all his money away as damages to Tesla anyway, and he'll go completely fucking bankrupt. And then Donald Trump will go to fucking prison. Now, you can say that, but what you cannot say is that Trump or Musk are babies, because you're insulting children when you do that. Children don't run fascist dictatorships. Children are not criminally culpable. Adults are. And that is the truth of it. Have a nice day. Oh, and by the way, be nice to disabled people, because one day, one of them might just tell you the truth. Disabled people don't support Hitler because of what Hitler did. Don't believe his autism argument for a single second.